This DLC? It sucks. Stay frosty and the price is right. Good day or good night.
Wait, you're not seriously done, are you?
Yeah, I am. Why should I put more effort into my video than Project Ace has put into their DLC?
Hey, your fans asked. Take pride in your work. Be better than them.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Hello everyone. This is the first time I'm reviewing a DLC since the third DLC mission back in, I think, 2019. I've taken a step back since then and realized it's probably a bit much to complain about Ace Combat 7 all the time. I mean, back then, I had a serious hatred for the game. And nowadays, I do still dislike the game, but it's not as burning of a hatred. It deserves what it gets, but ever since that DLC, people really haven't liked me complaining about the game, and it really wasn't necessary to make a video for each and every aircraft pack that's been out. And for the most part, I think those aircraft packs were okay. Most of them have been pretty crap, but it hasn't been to a point where, yeah, I need to make a video explaining why it's crap. I feel like it just goes without saying. But this DLC is special, because this DLC is Project Aces at their absolute lowest point. This DLC has 3 new planes, and a bunch of different skins. Now, I'm not going to go over the fact that some of those paid skins are for planes that are already paid, that are already DLCs. People give EA shit for The Sims and making DLCs for DLCs. That should go without saying, but the Ace Combat community seems to not give a shit and just lets Project Aces get away with whatever they want. So, there's that, but that's not what I'm going to be covering. But before we move on, regarding the skins, I'm not counting them as part of the package, because they're likely modded skins. And you can get those skins for free anyway on PC. The reason I say that is because I have a friend who has been modding skins. He actually made the Sheiksoul skins for Fractured Fates. And he told me that the Project Aces versions of the skins have these same errors as some modded skins. There's no extra value to them. They are literally just modded skins that you could get on PC for free. So they're not counting towards part of the package. And I think that's really scummy for Project Aces to be doing anyway. And even if they aren't, these are skins that, again, modders have had on PC since 2019. And they're asking for you to pay for them when PC players could already use those skins for free. Remember, these guys asked you to pay for the Mihai skins, the Mobius skin, which is already in the game. Well, the Mobius skin with the ISAF emblems isn't, but they haven't even added the IUN version to single player, so that's also pretty scummy. But that goes for the Soul skin, the Raven, the Morgan, the Falcon. Those planes were in game at launch. They were finished. Count, Jaeger, Hujan, Wiseman, Fencer, Lanza, Taylor, Skull, Major One Clown, Golem skins, including Brownie and Knocker, Full Band, High Roller, Tabloid, Count the SU-33, Champ, Gargoyle, and probably many more. These skins are in the game, but you cannot use most of them. And that's not even counting the VR skins that you can't use, the IUN Mobius skins, the F-22, the SU-30M2, the A-10, the F-18F, the F-16, the F-15. Those planes, some of them are flown by allies, but they are in the game. And there might actually be a couple more, because I'm not sure what they fly in Mission 2, but I know what they fly in Mission 1 and Mission 3. And I don't even think it'd be fair to count some of those skins as part of the package, because some of those skins require you to have other DLC. So, what makes this DLC special? Well, it should be the aircraft. What sets these aircraft apart from the other aircraft DLCs we got? In fact, what sets them apart from the aircraft we already have in the base game? I don't know. Their maneuverability and weaponry?
Nope, can't be that. Because there are other aircraft that are more maneuverable than them and have the same, if not better, special weaponry.
So, is it how cool they look?
You kidding me? These planes are ass ugly, and the skins are just as bad.
Hold on. Before we continue, I think it's reasonable to say that the score attack missions in this game are the most replayable. At least they're the ones that people like to replay the most. So, most of the time, I judge the special weapons based on how they perform in these score attack missions. Remember, 3 of the 4 score attack missions, if we're counting Anchorhead Raid as a DLC mission, require some form of hard-hitting, direct impact weaponry. Remember, 4 AGMs, RKTs, 8 AGMs, UGBs, GPBs, basically anything that isn't LASMs or LACMs are useless on score attack missions that aren't long day. Which I hate, but that's how Ace Combat 7 works for some damn reason. Which wouldn't be that big of a deal if the score attack missions were longer, but they're only 15 minutes long, and most weaponry won't be able to do shit in those time frames. This leads to weird scenarios where aircraft like the A-10 and Su-34, which are designed for air-to-ground combat, are awful in air-to-ground combat. And it also leads to some of the most historically useful weapons in the Ace Combat series being absolutely unusable. TLS, MPBMs, FABs, they're completely useless in this game. And their blast radius is awful, specifically the MPBM and FAB. In fact, it's so bad that, while I'm not sure this is the case anymore, the MPBM can't even kill a single plane. At least it couldn't when the DLC first came out. I don't know if they patched it. Oh, and please don't mention the GRKTs. I've never used them, and I don't like that plane. Why did you not put them on the Shinden? What the f— So, all this in relation to the new aircraft. What does it mean? Well, we can already erase the Mig-35 as even being close to useful. Take a look at the stats of the MiG-29. Now, take a look at the stats of the MiG-35. Seems pretty different, right? Seems a lot better. Well, this is Ace Combat 7, where lighter aircraft means more maneuverability. So, while the MiG-35 may technically be more maneuverable as a larger aircraft, it's actually no better than the MiG-29 because it's more heavy. So, it has worse special weapons, or special weapons on par with the MiG-29, really depends on if you prefer SAMs or HPAs. So it's the same aircraft, worse or better depending on your preferences. So there's no value to it in reality. Now the F-2 serial killer, or Super Kai, depends on if you played Town of Salem or not. It is an F-2 that looks a little bit different and is a little bit more maneuverable. That's it. It has 6 AMs rather than HVAs, which might actually be a downgrade depending on who you ask. It has LASMs, and it has IEWS. That's it. They removed the one special weapon that was completely useless, and that's it. You're still better off just using the F-2 and not paying for this DLC because you're not getting much more out of it. I legitimately could not tell you to get this DLC based on this one aircraft. So there you go. Now, the F-18F Block 3. This one requires a little bit more of an in-depth look, but not really if you look past surface level. It has LACMs, which, for certain situations, the LASMs are better. I'd say they're better on most missions, but they can work, so it's not that big of a deal. 4 AMs, and 8 AGMs. You can throw that last one in the trash, nobody wants it. Now, I actually wouldn't say that the F-18F Block 3 is competing directly with its brother, the F-18, well, Super Hornet, the normal version. It's actually directly competing with the Rafale, and in that case, it's losing. I mean, I could mention that it doesn't have an EML and its big brother does, but we're gonna ignore that little fact. And even if you did ignore that little fact, it still doesn't have QAMs. Now, the thing that I'd say puts the F-18 in the same category as the Rafale is the LACM, because LASMs in most other cases are better. The main thing putting it in that category because of that is Anchorhead. Anchorhead's the only score attack mission I'd say you're better off bringing LACMs than LASMs because of the wider blast radius, and it still does fair damage against ships. But the problem is, while the F-18 Super Hornet will carry you better than the Rafale through the first phase, it's going to be very, very difficult when you get to the second phase. Why? Because its 4AMs are awful. LAMs are better in every way, and HCAs are also better in basically every way. The Rafale is going to carry you through that second phase and get you to the high score that you want. If you're not looking for high score, it's not a huge difference, but the F-18 Block 3 is just a little bit more maneuverable and maybe faster? I honestly don't think it's faster than the Rafale. It may be. But even so, it has a worse gun if you prefer precision over spray and pray. So there's literally no reason to get that plane if you like the Rafale, or even like the original F-18 Super Hornet. None of these planes have any value that any other plane couldn't give you. The base game planes are better than the damn DLC. And even so, there are better DLCs than this. They are reskins. Reskins of planes that were already balanced properly in the game. The only difference is they're a little bit more maneuverable, a little bit faster, actually not always more maneuverable or more faster, and have different special weapons that may or may not be worse. They're worth nothing. And they're $12.50 compared to DLCs that actually introduced new planes that weren't in the game and skins that, while that's a bullshit thing to even bring up, were better than what this gave. And they have the gall, the fucking nerve to bring in glowing skins and people just praise them. They're so cool. They're not. It was a glitch that was fucking easy to find. I found it the first day the DLC came out with the F-18. It's funny, sure, but it's funny because of how incompetent you have to be to miss something like that. And I haven't even brought up the emblems that they added. Who gives a shit about the emblems they added? They add no value. The only thing you can do with them is put them on the wing, the tail, or the front. And you can only take them off or on of those certain parts, so it doesn't matter. The skins that aren't skin 4, 5, and 6 on all the aircraft they added are stupid because they have no proper emblems. There should at least be a trigger skin for each of those skins because guess what? They're ugly. They don't look right if they don't have fucking emblems on them. And you can't even roleplay if you wanted to as a random Erusian aircraft because they don't even have the Erusian emblem that the enemies use, the one with the white background. You still can't use that. That still hasn't been added into the game. And the Ocean one, which is an Ocean flag, also still hasn't been added into the game, so you can't even do that. And I'm not even expecting for them to fix the whole emblem issue. I'm not expecting for them to add numbers and actual emblem customization. We're far past that. All I'm asking is allow us to use more than one emblem on the tail, on the front, and on the back. That would fix some of the issue. That would make some of the emblem customization worth it. Or, I don't know, add music to the emblems when you win in multiplayer? That would also add value. But no, they're there and they don't matter. And you're technically paying for them. They technically add value even though you could download the damn PMG from online. So there's another thing that they probably got from online and didn't even make themselves. It would have taken them like 5 minutes to do, at most. And we have, I think, 5 or 6 multiplayer maps, depends on if you count the night or day versions of Yanxi Valley. And there are 23 missions. Now, not all of those missions are unique maps, but we still don't have the lighthouse. How cool would it be to fly underground? Wouldn't that be neat? Well, we can't do that. And we've had no new modes added since the launch. Well, there were never new modes added. It's just TDM and Battle Royale, which is the bare minimum, which people are sick of for good reason. Now, I know there's not going to be a co-op mode. They never said there would be. They actually said the opposite before the game came out. Now, that was for bullshit reasons, but I'm willing to accept it. But they still haven't added any new modes, and you can't have odd numbers of players, or you can't have more than 4v4 in TDM. You can't party with your friends. So when you go into a random map that doesn't allow for team switching, you can't play with your friends. 90% of the time, I mean, if you're playing with more than 2 people, you're gonna be against your friends. And it's bullshit. I'm sick of going into multiplayer games without being able to play with my friends. Why was it so hard to implement such a common multiplayer feature to be partied with your friends regardless of the ability to switch teams? Why was that not in the game? Why have the VR missions that have been in the game since the very beginning never been made available to play without VR? Not everybody has VR. Not everybody's willing to pay $500 or thereabouts for 3 missions. Why are the skins that you can fly in the VR as Mobius not in the game? Why can you not use them in the single player? That would be common sense, but you can't. And let me address the whole, oh, just mod it. You can mod it in. Not everybody has a gaming PC. 2/3 of the player base, for the most part, are on console. Not everybody has a gaming PC, and not everybody wants to have a gaming PC, or rather, wants to play on PC. It's just not for everyone. And for some reason, regarding the multiplayer, I still don't understand this. I don't know why it hasn't been changed, but you can't use multiplayer parts, or sorry, level 2 or 3 parts in the campaign. Why? I have not a clue. It could be extra fun to make your weapons overpowered as hell. You could use the Falcon in Ace Combat 5. You could use the Morgan with nukes in Ace Combat 0. You could use shoulder-mounted artillery, which, by the way, is useless in Ace Combat 7, on the CFA-44 in Ace Combat 6, and it was ridiculous. But it's too much to ask for level 2 parts in single player, which honestly wouldn't add that much value anyway? Okay. or God forbid a skin creator like Ace Combat Assault Horizon had 8 years before Ace Combat 7 came out, you know you screwed up when Assault Horizon is actually doing a better job of being a game than you are. Not to mention, Assault Horizon had multiple multiplayer modes. Capital Conquest was one of them. You could change your call sign, which was also really damn cool. But no, I'm sick of it at this point. I'm sick of the community not holding Project Aces accountable for the bullshit they do. Selling DLC for DLC. Selling DLC for shit that's been in the game since launch, which nobody called them out on. Nobody said, something might be wrong with selling DLC for skins that are already in the game, and all we have to do is add them to the skin list. No, nobody said anything like that. And they're like, okay, you know what, we'll forget about it. You're in a tough spot, Project Aces. We forgive you. And this is a shame, too, because Ace Combat is my favorite game series. Ace Combat 5 is my favorite game of all time. 0, close. Ace Combat 4 or 6 are both amazing. Ace Combat 6 is one of my favorite games in the series, gameplay-wise, and nobody gives that game credit, although it's deserved since it's only on Xbox. And Ace Combat 6 actually added value to its DLCs despite not having that many planes and not adding any planes, because the skins actually had value. They made your aircraft more maneuverable, gave it different stats. It was actually something pretty neat. It's a damn shame that you can't get that DLC anymore. But no, I'm done. I put more effort into this video than Project Ace has probably put into their fucking DLC, so you know what, Hector, do whatever you want. I'm done. Okay, I actually wasn't expecting that. You know what? I gotta say, I agree with him to an extent. I mean, we're missing planes like the F-5, the F-20, the X-29. We're missing planes like the Mig-144, the J-35J, the YA-10B, also planes that Ace Combat X added, and most of the planes that Ace Combat 5 had. We're missing a lot of it, and there was plenty of them that they could have added. Instead, they added planes that I don't think anybody really asked for, not to mention they're basically reskins of planes we already have. Now, there is going to be another DLC, but I think the point he was trying to make is that there's no way they're going to add all that, and this game just doesn't have a lot in it. It only has 23 missions, if you count the DLC missions, and 2 multiplayer modes that frankly get annoying after a long time. And what 3 planes are they going to add? What skins are they going to add? I mean, Ace Combat 6 had Rosgrief skins for every single aircraft. What the hell are they going to do to top that? Probably nothing. And even if they have all those skins, they're not going to be any better because Ace Combat 6 had the ability to make your aircraft better with those skins on it. Ace Combat 7's never done that, and it probably won't. And when I say only 20 or 23 missions, I say that with the realization that most Ace Combat games only had around 18. But in those cases, I'd say, at least in 0, to an extent, and definitely 4, and definitely 6, the missions themselves were more replayable. And 5 had an arcade mode that you could go into. 7 only has about 3 replayable all-the-time missions, and most of the aircraft you can't even use in those because they don't have LACMs or LASMs. So while these aircraft may not be that unique, in an ironic way, there's not much Project Aces could even do to fix that because of the hole they dug themselves into. Most aircraft aren't going to be useful on missions that have ships, like Fleet Destruction, like Farberty, like Anchorhead. And it shows because planes that would normally dominate, like the CFA-44, the CFA-44 doesn't do anything. I would be interested to see the operations system make a return, but as for this DLC, based on everything that Killer said, and my own opinions, I would never suggest you buy this. At least with the other DLCs, you might find some sort of value through having those planes as kind of a novelty, but here you already have better versions of the planes, arguably less ugly. I'm not sure I agree with him on them being ugly, but I can see where he's coming from. Anyway, avoid this DLC, particularly if you're on PC. It's just not worth it. The DLC skins are not worth it. They don't add any value. In fact, I'd say it's the worst selection of skins we've gotten so far. So just save your money, get something that's actually worth it. If you're on console, save up to get Among Us soon. That'd be fun. Or if you're on Xbox, get Project Wingman. It's actually out now. You can play it on Xbox. Hopefully PS4 will get a release. Probably not, but it'd be neat. So spend your money more wisely. Do not buy this DLC. It is not worth it by any means. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay frosty, and the price is right. Good day. Oh, good night.